everybody, it's Shu. I wanted to show you the build that I'm using in Overkill. Overkill tends to be the difficulty that's sort of where you want to climb if you're new to the game and become sort of the mess around, have fun difficulty once you've really established yourself. So I'll show you what I'm doing here. We have a lot of points in Mastermind. We're going up to Ace Inspire. We need Combat Medic Basic. Quick Fix, just so we can get some better first aid kits, and then more first aid kits off of uppers. Then we Ace Inspire so we can pick up people with a shout. That's awesome because this is a highly mobile build, so being able to get around quickly, we can shout people up, and it's really powerful. Inspire is still probably the most busted skill in the game, even after it was nerfed heavily. Forced Friendship Basic, Stable Shot Basic. We're taking Ace Resilience just to have resistance to flashbangs. Basic Scavenger, not really needed. You could take a different basic skill if you wanted. This was just sort of, there was an extra point sitting around. I wanted it there. Same with Hardware Expert. Again, you can just put the point where you feel is useful. I put it there. Ace Steady Grip, we want the accuracy and stability because this is an SMG build, and stability is super important for that. And we want firing from the hip and reducing our accuracy penalties because we are not using ADS much. We're going to be firing from the hip and just like tapping people to bring them down, and Ace Fire Control helps with that. Acing Surefire because we want more bullets in the mags for the basic, and ace it so we can pierce through body armor. This is super awesome on an SMG build. And Ace Body Expertise basically says anytime we shoot somebody, it's as if we shot them in the head. Amazing for an SMG. On Ghost, acing Duck and Cover to get the extra dodge chance. Acing Parkour so that we can reload while we sprint. We only need the basic on Inner Pockets to increase the concealment of our melee weapons. We're acing it just to climb up to Sneaky Bastard quicker. If you wanted to remove some of those little incidental 1-point expenditures, you could take Shockproof instead. Well, no, you couldn't. You'd still be one short on Sneaky Bastard. So yeah, we aced this even though we don't need it because it was the most efficient point path up to Sneaky Bastard, which will give us extra chance to dodge. We're going to have extremely low detection risk, and Sneaky Bastard will reward us for that. Sicken Wind is awesome, but we also just need it to climb up. We're reducing the concealment penalty by acing this on our weapons and also of silencers because we are using a set of silenced SMGs. And then we're getting extra stability and accuracy with it. Again, stability matters a ton with SMGs. Dealing extra damage because of it. And low blow, so we get high critical chance because again we're running a low detection risk build. And then in Fugitive, we don't need Equilibrium, but we need it to climb up the tree so that we can ace AKIMBO here, and we reduce the stability penalty and have a lot of extra ammo capacity. That extra ammo capacity is important. And then Martial Arts is another one of those just incidental quality of life skills. If you don't want it, you can remove it and spend it somewhere else. Okay, so that's the build. Let's show you what we're doing with it. You know, actually, let's start with a perk deck. Right now, Rogue is equipped. You can also equip Ex-President. In fact, I'm going to put that back on. That's what I normally run with this. Either of them is fine. Rogue is going to get you shot less. Ex-President is going to give you more sustain. So if you're, especially if you're doing like a long endurance type heist, Ex-President is amazing. It'll make you like almost immortal because you'll just keep building back your health. Ex-President will reward you by banking health when you're doing damage to people, when you or your team are doing damage. And when your armor breaks and then refreshes, that banked health returns to you. So really awesome on difficulties of Overkill and below, where you are just crapping out damage all over the place. It's less viable on higher difficulties because there you have to start being a little... You have to start exercising discretion about the fights you get into, and an Ex-President loses some value there. If I were taking this to Mayhem, I would definitely swap to Rogue. Rogue is also completely viable here. It's not going to be as viable for the really long endurance things because you aren't going to be regenerating health with it, but the extra dodge will keep you alive. I would use this for shorter missions where things get really hot and heavy, and then ex-president for things that are a lot longer. So, weapons. We're starting with Akimbo Heather submachine guns. Love these things. We're using the Tashina suppressor because it has a high stability bonus, and since the concealment penalty is only -2, that gets completely erased by the ghost skill that removes up to -2 concealment penalty on suppressors. You could also use the bigger the better suppressor, but that goes deeper into accuracy than stability, and I decided I wanted to go deeper on stability. We've got a concealment boost here. We've got auto fire because we're definitely not single shotting with these bad boys. Compact laser module because we're going to be firing from the hip. The laser is absolutely vital. Magazine, if you have the new DLC, put on the speed pull magazine. There's no penalty to do it, and these things reload comically quick. I don't have it, you don't need it, but if you have it, by all means equip it. An unfolded stock, free stability, just run it. Secondary, we are running the pistol crossbow, and we're running explosive bolts on it. Skeletal limb to increase concealment, concealment boost, camo grip for concealment, and then no sight. This is our special killer. Well, it's primarily shield killer, and it breaks visors on dozers. So if you see a shield and you can't easily get around it, you swap to pistol crossbow, put it right into the shield, and that guy's going to fall over dead. If you see a dozer, swap to this, put it in his face, and that visor's going to break off, and you can dump a few bullets in his face and finish him off really quickly. If you don't have the ninja pack, you don't need the pistol crossbow. You can run with other things. If you have the shotgun pack, I would recommend a judge that has HE and concealment. HE rounds, again, do the same thing. Bust shields, bust visors on dozers. You can use your choice of suppressors. Again, you're going to want concealment on it. Compact laser module. And sight is just a taste. There's really no need for a sight on here, but since it only boosts me up to 4 detection risk, that's fine. This is a loud build, so the change in detection risk is completely irrelevant. It's not enough of a change to affect our dodge and crit bonuses from Sneaky Bastard and Low Blow. So yeah, as long as you're at 4, you're fine. You don't have to be at 3. But that said, I have the pistol crossbow. I prefer the pistol crossbow, so I'm going to use that. Judge is completely fine. If you don't have that, you could use the GL40. There's a bunch of different options. Well, I guess not the GL40. But there are other options you can use, and you don't even need explosives. It's just a nice utility thing. For melee, I've got the buzzer. Really anything that's just high concealment so that you don't push your detection rating past 4. Buzzer's really nice because it can stop people from firing, and if you are playing with people who are using intimidation and turning cops into jokers, buzzer is an almost guaranteed way to shout them down and get them to surrender. We're not using jokers on this build because this is just for overkill and below, and on overkill you don't really need cop hostages, but some people still run it. This helps them get their stuff going. You can really use any throwable on overkill. I run concussion grenades because I still think it's just the best, but any of this is going to be viable. We're running first aid kits and carrying 14 of them. You're going to use a 2-piece suit, and yeah, that'll do it. So once you see this build, give it a try yourself. I will show you a little bit of what it can do. I was talking about how it can do some of those long endurance heists, so I'm going to show you what it looks like to cook a whole bunch of bags of meth with just bots on our side. Okay, so let's get going. We're going on cook-off. We are going for 25 bags of meth. That is the monthly job, and we're doing it with just me and some bots. This build is going to carry us that way. The bots are in some ways better than people in that you're not going to be fighting them for ammo. The Heather submachine guns can be very ammo efficient if you are using very few bullets, and you're picking them up off the corpses. But sometimes people aren't always as efficient, and whether that's you or whether that's someone else, that could leave you a little bullet starved if somebody isn't bringing ammo bags. So rather than try to rely on other people and hope that they are ammo efficient, we're just going with bots. Anything they kill is still going to drop ammo that we can use, and we are going to use very few bullets to kill things ourselves, so our ammo situation ought to be self-sustaining. Between that and the 14 first aid kits and the ability to regenerate health from ex-presidents, everything we do ought to be very self-sustaining. Okay, so check this out. Just tiny little taps, and they just fall over dead. Don't even have to aim for the head. And it's going to be the same way with the cops. May have to tap a couple times on a boss, like on a special, like a taser or something. And against dozers, you'll have to, dump a large part of a magazine right into their face. But against anything else, just the tiniest little taps will bring them down, and they just melt because you have body expertise. So every shot that's hitting them is hitting them as if it's in the head. And you've got the extra bonuses for running silenced weapons here. It's just incredible. These guns rip through Overkill like you wouldn't believe. Right now we're putting up boards. We want to keep this area as safe as we can. I've done the endurance cook-off before. Last time I did it to get the trophy for my safe house, the How to Cook Meth for Dumbos book. But yeah, we learned a little bit from doing it there. In particular, we learned that walling the place off is nice. Trying to keep your bots indoors is nice so that they can't go run out there and die and risk everything. And it's also nice to take hostages, which we won't do right away. But once we get some hostages going, it really takes the heat off us on these assaults. And it becomes pretty clear that we're going to carry this all the way. Shouting to the bots to try to bring them inside. If they spend too much time outside, they can get caught in a nasty firefight, get stun locked, and then they fall and die like that. But Inspire will pick them right back up. You still don't want to press your luck. You want to keep them indoors as much as you can. Because if you fail this, it's probably not because of you. It's probably because your bots forced a really ugly situation. So you want to keep them inside as much as you can. Alright, here's a dozer. Check this out. We took a little bit of damage, we dumped a fair amount of bullets into his clip or his visor, and then he's gone. And now another dozer gone. You're just melting them. It's insane. Sneak around the shields and just tap them. You can see how it's pretty easy to be self-sustaining with ammo on this, as long as you're being efficient and other people aren't hoovering up all your ammo. By the end of this, we're going to have tapped the ammo bag twice for less than half of its total contents, and that's mostly going to be because of the pistol crossbow, which doesn't replenish its ammo off of ammo drops. It's not going to be because of the SMGs. So that ought to give you an idea of how efficient this can be. We're just living off the land here. If I wanted to be here even longer than 25 bags, alright. So that's the danger right there. Since we're not running rogue, we do take more damage because we dodge fewer shots. And so you can get in these spots where you take a hefty bit of damage, but we can fight it back up. We've already got a little bit of health banked. We can bank a bunch more. Check that out. 2 shields down with 1 crossbow bolt. How awesome is that? But yeah, The difference between running Rogue and running Ex-Presidents is, with Ex-Presidents, we're going to be rebuilding our health. With Rogue, those little face-to-face encounters with dozers are less scary because we're going to get shot less. And if you're running with Ex-Presidents, it's those moments where you're like in the thick of things or you're fighting a dozer up close. Those are going to be the ones where you're getting hurt. And that's when you have to be most careful, and you have to give an honest assessment of whether you need to drop a first aid kit. It's also handy to drop kits in the door frames, because when you've got them upgraded like this, you'll consume them automatically if you were about to fall, and that can be really handy. Protect you from those mistakes. Alright. And see, we only took one hostage, and it's already taking some of the heat off of us. We have longer breaks between assaults. The assaults themselves don't seem as vicious. And you can take hostages not just for yourself, but also for the other people on your team. So we can have several more hostages. And eventually we'll do that.
The process is done. Bag it up and let's do another round. Shit, you got crawlers outside. Watch those windows.
The buzzer makes it really easy to get those hostages. There's a dozer. We took a shot and it was pretty bad, so we stepped back to regenerate our armor and let some of that built up health come back to us. But yeah, by the end of this, we only have tapped the doctor bag. Well, we didn't tap the doctor bag at all. We only fall to damage once in this run, which ought to give you a pretty good idea of how strong Ex-Presidents can be. Eventually I'll cut this to a fast forward because it goes a really long time. You don't need to watch it all in slow-mo. There's no reason to do that. But going in real time here just to give you an idea of what the build can do. You notice right now we're at 200 bullets rather than our 288. That's the max. But we also haven't gone out there where we've killed most of the guys. There's a ton of ammo boxes out there waiting for us. So we can easily sustain on what we have. And like I said, if we wanted to really self-sustain, say we made an insane goal for ourselves and we wanted to cook 100 bags of meth. Well, then you probably bring the judge rather than the pistol crossbow, because the judge will pick up ammo off the ground where the pistol crossbow will not. But yeah, just these soft little taps, and these cops are melting.
Okay, let's try that.
One thing we don't have on here is Counter-Strike, which means that we're not immune to cloakers. So you still have to be careful about that. But yeah, once we got up, look how quickly we cleared all those guys. It's pretty amazing. Good taser. Tasers can be a problem with this build if you're not quick to find them, or if they get you from really far away and so your spraying can't reliably get them, because not only do you fire your ammo really quickly, but you have a very large magazine, so you can dump a shocking amount of your total ammo from one taser shock.
Nice. Seems to be okay. The process is done. Bag it up and let's
I swear to God, I did not mean to use shocking as any kind of pun, but that's what happens.
Twitch here. Tell me what you need. I'll be there in 2. Driving as fast as I
Alright,
can.
and Twitch is on his way. So I think that is our cue to put the rest of this on fast forward. If you want to watch the rest of it, you can. But yeah, you get an idea of what this build can do. I wouldn't recommend it on difficulties higher than Overkill, but from Overkill and below, you can do all sorts of ridiculous stuff and just have awesome destructive power and incredible sustain. So, yeah, give it a try yourself. Happy heisting.